The wife they took for granted. Wedding day. The sun shone brightly over the village square, lighting up the compound of the Johnson family. Colorful decorations filled the space, and the air was alive with music, laughter, and celebration. Women wore beautiful matching outfits, while men gathered under canopies talking and smiling. In the backyard, large pots of food simmered, rice stew, and other delicious dishes being prepared for the guests. It was the day of Daniel's traditional wedding. But inside the house, the mood was far from joyful. Mrs. Johnson sat quietly on a wooden chair, her face tight with disapproval. Beside her stood her daughter, Emily, arms crossed. "I still don't understand why my brother is marrying that girl," Emily said with irritation. Mrs. Johnson shook her head. "She is too quiet. I don't trust women who act like that. Feels fake." Emily nodded quickly. "Exactly. He could have married someone richer. Someone from a better family." Outside, laughter echoed through the compound. Inside, resentment quietly grew. Suddenly, the sound of drums grew louder. "The bride is here," someone announced. All eyes turned as the bride entered the compound, surrounded by her bridesmaids. Clara. She walked gracefully, her dress flowing as she smiled softly. She looked calm, elegant, and beautiful. The guests clapped and cheered. But Mrs. Johnson's expression did not change. "So that's the girl," she said coldly. Emily rolled her eyes. "She really thinks she's special." As tradition required, Daniel was brought forward and asked to find his bride among a group of veiled women. The crowd laughed as he pretended to search carefully. Then he stopped. Without hesitation, he knelt before one of them. The veil was lifted. It was Clara. The crowd erupted with excitement. Daniel smiled brightly, his happiness obvious to everyone. Everyone except his mother. "Look at him," Emily whispered. "He's completely blinded." Mrs. Johnson sighed. "Love can make people foolish." The ceremony continued. Clara was asked to greet her husband's family. Carrying a tray of gifts, she walked slowly toward Mrs. Johnson. The entire place became quiet as people watched. She knelt respectfully. "Good afternoon, Ma," she said softly. Mrs. Johnson looked at her for a moment, then responded with a short, cold sound. She took one of the gifts without smiling. Emily leaned closer and whispered loudly, "She's pretending to be humble. Let's see how long it lasts." Clara heard her, but she said nothing. Inside, she made a quiet promise. "No matter what happens, I will love this family." After the wedding celebrations ended, Clara and her husband, Daniel, packed their belongings and prepared to leave. Clara believed they were going to begin their new life together in a small apartment somewhere in the city, a place they could call their own. But instead, Daniel slowed the car and stopped in front of a familiar compound. His family house. Clara looked at him surprised. "We are living here?" she asked gently. Daniel smiled. "Yes. Just for now, it will help us save money until we can afford our own place." Clara hesitated. This wasn't what she had imagined, but she didn't want to begin her marriage with complaints. So she nodded. "Okay." Inside the house, Mrs. Johnson and Emily were already waiting. Mrs. Johnson gave a small smile, but it never reached her eyes. "So you have finally brought your wife home," she said. Emily leaned against the wall, folding her arms as she looked Clara up and down. "Welcome," she said casually. Clara greeted them respectfully. "Good afternoon, Ma." "Good afternoon, Emily." But from that very moment, Clara felt it. Living in that house would not be easy. At first, Clara tried to ignore the small comments, but soon they became impossible to overlook. Mrs. Johnson criticized everything. "Clara, sweep the compound again. You didn't do it properly. Why is this soup too salty? Why are you sitting down? Is there no work to do?" Emily was even worse. She treated Clara like a servant instead of family. "Wash my clothes. I am hungry, go and cook something. Why are you resting, lazy wife?" Clara swallowed her pain daily. She remained calm. She remained respectful. But inside the weight was growing heavier. One night, after a long and exhausting day, Clara decided to speak to her husband. They were in their room. She sat quietly on the bed, her face tired. "Daniel," she said softly. "Yes?" he replied, still scrolling through his phone. "I want to talk to you about something." "Go ahead." Clara hesitated, then spoke. "Your mother and your sister, they treat me badly." Daniel glanced up briefly. "What do you mean?" Clara explained everything. The constant insults. The endless chores.